Welcome back to the MaxiFi Getting Started video series. I'm Ed O'Connor-Giles, CTO for MaxiFi, and in this video we're going to zero in on settings and assumptions from your base profile. And settings and assumptions are the assumptions the tool makes in addition to all the information that you've entered. So it's not the financial information specifically about your family, but it's the assumptions we're making in the model, and the financial plan and the financial model. You can find these in any of the profiles you set up in this last tab, Settings and Assumptions. And you'll notice that there's several categories of settings here. This first category is safe rate, returns, and inflation. You want to take a close look at the inflation rate and the rates of return that are set for your different asset types here. Now, before you make any changes, I really encourage you to read through how we determine the default values for these rates and how they're used in the base plan. This is very important information for you to understand. There's a lot of thought and methodology behind why these rates are set the way they are. And so you really should try to understand more about that before you make any changes to that. Over in the retirement accounts section, you'll find a variety of settings about the withdrawals from your accounts, and you can find those for both adults in the house. So if you scroll down, you'll see, okay, here's the spouse's settings down here. So that each, you can control those separately. And then in the Social Security and Medicare tab, this is a setting that we get a lot of questions about. If you anticipate, let's say, that Social Security will cut benefits by 20% in 2035, starting in 2035, you can enter that here. You would just enter the change percent -20 in 2035, and then you'll see that reflected in the plan. Now, a couple things to point out here. Once you've changed a setting, you'll see this reset to default link up here, and that's how one, you know you've changed a setting, and two, it's how you get back to the default value if you decide later that you want to undo that. The other thing that I'll show you is that when you do change a setting, you'll notice that a little indicator shows up here in the tab, so that quickly you can identify, well, which tabs have a setting where you've made some changes. The taxes tab has a lot of important information. In particular, I'd focus you in on this unrealized capital gains setting. If you have unrealized long-term capital gains or losses on your regular assets, you're going to want to make sure you enter that value here. And then under estate planning, we have ways that you can specify special bequests from both you and your spouse. The living standard has some really important settings. If you don't want to, by default, we have a smooth annual living standard. And here you can, if you don't want a smooth living standard, you think that you're going to be spending less over time or less for a while and then more toward the very end of life, you can adjust that by entering living standard index values here. So those are some of the key settings, and I'd encourage you to click around and study those settings before you move forward from your base plan, so that you have a good foundation for understanding what all the assumptions are that are going into your base plan model. Okay, hope that was helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.